We'll get the Rye Town Park Commission meeting for April 15th beginning.
And we have the new selected member of the board. If you lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just before we start the proceedings tonight, I can say I know all the elected officials up here and all the people in the audience. Every time I say the pledge, it's an opportunity to renew our love and our faith in our country. And I just wanted to take a moment of silence because, again, we had another incident today, and I just want to take a moment of silence to show solidarity with the people in Boston. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Nowotnik, can you please call the roll?
Okay, Commissioner Brett? Here. Commissioner Salanitro?
Here.
Commissioner Rosenberg?
Here.
Commissioner Pagano has a meeting tonight. He will not be here.
Yeah, and I want to just say
And Commissioner French.
Yeah. Commissioner Pagano was very kindly allowed us to change. Normally, as everybody knows, we have our meetings on Tuesday nights. I want to thank the Commission for accommodating us. Tomorrow night we have the Tools Project, where basically we have students from 3 different high schools come together in a community outreach project, so it became difficult to have both the park meeting and this meeting. So I thank the Commission for the change. And Commissioner Pagano had a conflict, so he very graciously let us move forward with the meeting tonight. Okay, now, I'm not sure if everybody who was here last time, can we get an approval for the minutes of the March 19th meeting? Do we have a...
I'll move.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Okay.
Aye. Now, Mr. Rosenberg, I do want you to know it's generally the responsibility of the mayor of Rye Brook to check the minutes and then we very fine. So going forward, she was very good at that, and so we could hand that task over to you. Okay, so we got the minutes approved. Can I get any comments from the public, please?
Hey everybody, I'm Ann Muller from the Friends of Rye Town Park. I just wanted to give a little mini update on what's going on with us. Invitations for our fabulous fundraising event in the park have been mailed out. Hopefully everybody's gotten one and you'll be attending. It's going to be very much fun with a great menu and silent auction and raffle, and it's in the park.
Can you remind us of the date again?
It is May 18th from 6 to 9 p.m.
Beautiful.
It's going to be good fun. Update on the movie. It is scheduled for July 11th in the park. Once again, it's going to be sponsored by Carpet Trends, very generous on their part. We're planning to have Scott Kazan, the Balloon Man, back again, entertaining the kids. And it was all so much fun last year, a huge success. Excellent feedback, and I'll keep in touch with Freddie about extra, whatever we need, extra garbage, extra security, extra roping. Yeah, everybody was so cooperative last year. It was so much fun. The gardeners from Friends of Rye Town Park are busy cleaning out the beds, trimming, cutting back, getting ready for the spring. Our big community forum is scheduled for the 27th. I think everybody knows that. 10:30 at Rye Rec in the Damiano downstairs. And Clint and another one of our members have begun working on the information center that's going to be installed right near the winter office. I think that's the area. there was a sign there before. So it's, ground is broken for it, and they've begun working on it, and I think it's going to be done in a couple of different stages.
Wonderful, and thank you so much.
That's it.
Well, I want to thank again the Friends of Rye Town Park for all you do and encourage everybody. So it's May 18th
May
in the
18th.
park from 6 to 9 p.m.
Yep.
Encourage everybody to come out and
Good
support the
fun.
Friends of Rye Town Park. They've been a tremendous source of support to the park for a number of years.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Please, friends.
The landscaper did a great job, by the way, when we came through the park. When I saw that this weekend, they cleaned out all the beds, everything was great.
Beautiful. Fantastic. Great. Any other comments from the public, please?
Hello, my name is Jeannie Golden, and I just wanted to introduce myself to the Commission, and I am the new chair of the Rye Town Park Advisory Committee that reports to Doug, and we are, like Ann said, part of hosting the Community Forum April 27th. I want to thank you for taking a Saturday morning to help talk to the community. A couple of items that I'd like to see on the agenda that other people have brought to my attention that they'd like to hear about are the 2012 numbers. They're not posted on the website. I don't know if they're available or when they will be available, but people are asking where they are.
Sure.
So if you could touch upon that. And people just want to know about the plans for safety and security over the summer. And those are two of the items that have been brought to my attention. If anything else comes up in the next week or so, I'll send out an email and let you know, other than what you want to touch upon, if there's anything specific that the community is asking about. And I look forward to being part of the committee for the next couple of years.
Thank you so much. Is Jeannie?
Jeannie, yeah.
And do you have all our contact details? Bishop, would you make sure you...
he's given, forwarding me the stuff.
And anything you need, any information you need, don't hesitate to ask. We have a lot of budgets, financials, computer models, and stuff like that. We'll get the 2012 financials. I apologize for the delay. We'll have them for the 27th. So.
Okay, that would be great.
Thanks, Jeannie.
Thank you.
Great. Other comments from the public? Okay. Capital Committee RFP. I saw Mr. Tartaglia here, and Mr. Maybe, do you want to come up, Dan? Do you mind? And talk a little bit about where we are. This is the RFP that you guys presented last time. Maybe I'll sort of summarize where I understand things are, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. We went out we've exchanged emails, and the commission is basically authorized the sending out via email, and we talked about the last meeting, as you know, soliciting bids for the planning advisory. So we put out the RFP for the planning group, and that went out when, Mr. Nowotnik?
It went out last week, Thursday, Friday last week.
Terrific. As per the Commission's authorization and at the recommendation of your group, Dan, and then I think we have in front of us tonight the broader, the formal RFP, and again, just wanted to take this opportunity to get any comments on it, but the idea is to, again, approve sending this out. Effective tomorrow morning, I guess, right? It'll go out and post it. And so it's already been out. I don't know, is it formally out? Or?
No, it's not formally out.
Right. So we posted it. So I guess we'll formalize the posting tomorrow, subject to any comments, questions.
Yeah, it is part of the planning RFP. It was to give them, I guess, insight into what we're asking them to work on.
Yes, it was appended to that.
Right.
I think, look, the whole goal here is to make this as broad as possible, so with as many proposals as possible, so that we can see if we can't run the park on a more efficient basis, hopefully in a public-private partnership. I don't know, Dan and Mr. Tartaglia, if you had anything else you wanted to add, or?
No, that pretty much sums it up, Mr. Supervisor. We did have comments from Mayor French on the overall proposal last time. We were going to expand the section with regard to the existing conditions of some of the structures, in particular the administration building. There is some cleanup of the document, some typos and some cleanup that needs to be done, but it's basically ready for distribution. I think at this point, everything that's been marked at this point has been marked draft.
Yes.
Everything that went to the planning consultants is all marked draft, so nothing conclusive has been done by this board. There's been no action yet with regard to moving it forward, other than to solicit proposals from planning consultants to assist us in the process.
Perfect. And so how are we going to incorporate Mayor French's comments and clean the document up? Is that something your committee's going to do, or is that something you want us to do, or?
Well, I can make those revisions. I can redistribute everything.
I think if the commission is prepared to stipulate, I'm happy to, say that once you've made the changes, it's ready to go out.
Yeah, I can deal with that.
But I think they're all on the margin pretty much, so I think we're of a view, let's get it out formally, so once you've made those changes, just get it to Mr. Nowotnik, and he'll go ahead and send it out.
I was contacted as the contact person for the planning RFP from at least 5 of the planning consultant firms already who are going to be submitting proposals, so we are going to get proposals back from them, and we'll have more than a couple from which to choose. So that's wonderful as well.
Wonderful. And the deadline for that, Mr. Nowotnik?
We have to move the date back to give people time. We moved it to May 3rd.
Okay, great.
Thanks, so.
Please, Mr.
So we have a planning consultant that we're looking to hire, but the scope of work of what we asked them to do, there'll be some debate and discussion around that, right? The scope of work?
Yeah, well, what we did in the RFP is we broke it up into 2 pieces.
Yeah.
The first piece is up until the point where we choose a successful bidder on the project itself,
right.
And then afterward. And what we did was, in the RFP to the planners, we asked them to price it 2 different ways. The first is just going to be, we asked them to give us a GMP price on it, a guaranteed maximum price of what it's going to take us from here to the point where we have a successful bidder. At that point, it'll be more of a time and materials basis from them, because at that point, action under SECRA will have taken place, and we'll look to the successful bidder, obviously, to fund the commission's costs with regard to the planning consultant. So that's why I structured it that way.
Okay. And the project for public purposes, right, that entity, what's their role in this? I know you talked about that.
Just one of the bidders.
Yeah, just one of the bidders.
Yeah, right. So they will be one of the bidders.
Hopefully.
Okay.
Great. Any other questions from the commission? Yes, please.
Thank you, Supervisor Carvin. Are you comfortable stating which of the 5 planners have already reached out to you, just informally, or?
Tim Miller Associates.
Okay.
Sicardi and Schiff, who I believe now have merged with a larger planning and engineering firm that go by 3 initials, which I can't recall.
Okay.
Formerly Sicardi and Schiff. I did speak with Meg Walker at PPS, although I did not get confirmation from her whether or not they would be submitting a proposal. I also heard from Sicardi and Schiff. I talked to Tim Miller. John Meyer Consulting. I spoke to John Meyer Consulting, but they are involved with representing the county on playland.
Okay.
And as a result of that, we're not sure whether or not there might be a conflict here, or whether they would be submitting anything. And off the top of my head, I can't remember the other consultants that I spoke to. Buckhurst Fish and Jacquemart. I spoke with Frank Fish. So I'm pretty sure at least we'll get those 4 proposals, and probably more, I imagine.
We also sent the RFP to the Westchester Federation of Planners for distribution to their membership. So I don't know how that is handled, but certainly we're giving it as wide a distribution as we can.
And actually, BFJ, as you know, Dan, is doing the comprehensive plan for the Village of Rye.
Okay, I did not know that. Patrick Cleary also, who's the planner for Portchester and the planner for Harrison, I believe is going to put in a proposal as well.
Great. Fantastic. Thank you.
Well, thanks so much for all your hard work on this. We really appreciate it.
No problem. I'll recirculate that that document tomorrow. I'll try to do a red line so you can...
Right, go ahead and say, well, I think it's good to go.
We can work together.
Yes, can I get a motion to approve the distribution of this RFP as it will be modified by Mr. Tartaglia?
Okay, hang on a second. Let's call it the right thing. Okay.
Request for, yeah.
Right, for development and operation of Rye Town Park.
He's perfect.
Okay.
Can I get a second?
Second.
You can call the roll, Mr. Nowotnik.
Okay. Commissioner Brett?
Yes.
Commissioner Salanitro?
Yes.
Commissioner Rosenberg?
Yes.
Commissioner French?
Yes.
Commissioner Carvin?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Finance and Operations report, is that going to be you, Mr. Gioffre?
Well,
Or is that going to be, okay.
part of it will be me, part of it will be Fred.
Good.
The question about the audited numbers, we're anticipating the audited numbers will be in almost any day now. We're at the very tail end. Typically, we used to have them up in April. It looks like they'll be ready for the May meeting. We will post, in the interim, we will post all of the subsidiary reports that we have, our wage reports, our...
Well, let's just try and get it by the 27th.
It'll be a push, but I will push.
Okay. Well, I think I'd like to have something available, even if it's interim.
Well, we may be at the draft stage, and we may be able to, post it as a draft.
Right.
Okay.
I think that's rather than all the other ancillary. 2 months ahead of time. Yeah, April 15th, we got June 15th.
All right. Yeah, I thought this was... Okay.
Yeah,
He knows that, right? It says June 15th, should be April 15th, right?
Which one is that?
Your report here. Report
No, that's Bill Lawyer, yeah.
What did I do? What's it, June 15th?
It's only April.
What?
It's only April.
That should be April 15th, is right.
I'm thinking of it.
He was thinking of summer. From a financial perspective, we frankly haven't really spent very much money. We have hired 3 maintenance people at the moment. We've got our key staff in terms of managerial staff on. Today, the finance computers, I think, were being installed. Okay. From a financial perspective, we're okay at the moment.
Okay. Fred?
Okay, good evening, Commissioners, and welcome, new Commissioner, Mayor from Rybrook. As you're aware, this is the very beginning of the season, so we've been busy mostly with our single press agent, Bill Lawyer, who's done a ton of publicity and press releases. All of you should have a copy of that in your package. Basically, we're preparing our permit mailings to our permit holders and our residents, press releases for the sculpture exhibit, flyers for our sponsorship opportunities, press release for the community conversation forum, which will be held on Saturday the 27th, which Ian mentioned, posters regarding Rye Town Park rules. I'm saying this for the public's knowledge. The events in developing and scheduling, the sculpture exhibit in the pond opened on April 7th and runs through May 5th. It's a series of floating worlds with solar-powered LED lights. The artist reception is on what we call on Earth Day, Saturday, April 20th, from 10 to 2. There'll be refreshments and live music by Rye High School students. We have a number of Friends of Rye Town events. One of them is their annual fundraiser, which is May 18th. It's going to be at our park under the pavilion. The concert series, all 7 of Tuesday's slots are now scheduled, and we're in the process of putting that schedule together, and we'll post it at recognizable spots around the park. We're considering a possibility of an open mic night, which is just in the thought stage right now. We have one sponsor so far, Rye Ford. Shakespeare in the Park is going to take place Friday, August 2nd. The outdoor movie will take place July 11th, rain date July 18th, sponsored by Carpet Trends of Rye. Tango by the Beach is scheduled to start on Thursday, starting May 23rd. They're talking about a possible fundraiser for Animal Nation, which is an animal rights group, animal caring group.
Yeah, they
Rescue animals? Yes, I was just talking to her today about it. The pond management now, the new equipment has been installed. The aerators, two new aerators and a circulator. Thanks to the Friends of Rye Town Park, we're hoping to have a healthy pond throughout the whole summer this year. The waterfall pump was repaired and reinstalled. We applied our first treatment of environmentally safe blue dye to hope to retard algae growth. And the big plan is to put this message center and locator across from the men's and ladies' rooms there, so people can get an idea of what's going on in the park, or what the park, the different areas of the park.
How are we coming with,
With
hiring of employees and all that?
So far, we've operated with the park director and the assistant director, Terry and Bill. We've hired 3 maintenance workers, which we've started April 1st. There's a lot of work that we intend to do, turning on the water to every building in the place, the electrical, cleaning and painting, repairing, bathrooms, administration building, and overall park preparation. On security, they start April 23rd. That's the same date we started last year, unless I'm told otherwise. And
do we have a new security director?
Not yet. I interviewed someone on Friday, and I had high hopes for him, a former county police officer. And today he called me, and he had a little problem with his family, so he won't be able to do weekends, and therefore he wouldn't fill the bill.
Is Joe gone? Did I miss that?
Yes.
Yeah?
Who?
He had a...
Joe wasn't able to secure a rental. He stayed at his mother's house. He lives upstate New York.
Upstate, right. Yeah.
And he stayed at his mother's house. His mother passed, and the house passed on to one of his brothers, I believe, and the rent would be a little high. But anyway, I'm optimistic about finding someone, and we have a couple others that we're hoping to come forward. I'm waiting for them to call. We've begun setting up our computers in the permit office and the main cashier's booth.
Sorry, just as long as we're on TV, so we're looking for a head of security and parking?
Head of security for the park.
Yeah. And parking as well?
Preferably with a police background.
Right.
And certified ranger, sort of, that knows how to manage we have about 8 or 9 of our security people, and then we have about 15 parking people. So that supervisor will manage time attendance for those 2 groups.
So you're basically responsible for parking and security?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. We consider those sort of connected.
Right.
We started setting up the computers today, actually. The permit office is set up, and the entrance to the parking lot. The permits go on sale on May 8th, Wednesday through Sunday, from 9 to 3. We've had our golf carts tuned by Now, I say that because they're actually on their last breath, and we're trying to sustain them through this summer. And we found a mechanic that works for Greenway, who we're hoping will be the salvation for these things, for these carts. We're reorganizing the garage and the carpenter shop. We're preparing for the pancreatic cancer walk, which is next weekend, and I've been working with them. And of course, the community forum was mentioned on 4/27th to Saturday at 10:30 a.m. at Rye Rec, and we're in the process of reviewing the applications that we've received.
How many, generally we have
I would say about 60.
60? Perfect. 60 applications or
Yes, that's it.
And how many do we hire?
Well, we have to hire all of Terry's people. How many?
Because we hire about 60 people, don't we?
We hire 60, 65.
I have people coming back.
So we need more applications, is what you're saying?
We could use them,
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
you know.
We used to get 120, 130.
What's the economy improving, or what's happening?
I'm shocked. I don't know why. What happens typically is the high school kids don't even focus on getting a job. It's too early, April, May. Come June, we will get a spate of applications. The problem is we're advertising all through the month of April. We're on cable TV. We're on the various channels. We're in the.
Are we in the schools?
I don't know that we've actually gone into the schools. I know we are working with Dominic Cerulli in Fort Chester because he actually has a jobs program that he coordinates. I don't know that there is a comparable position.
Well, let's try and reach out to the 4 high schools.
Sure.
Obviously, Bolingbrook, Port Chester, Rye City, and Rye Neck.
I probably only need 7 or 8 people. I have a lot of the people are coming back.
Okay. And then we have lifeguards, we have maintenance, we have security, and we have parking attendants.
Right.
So that's about where we are at this point.
Great. Thanks so much, Mr. Gioffre. Oh, we're going to talk about these computers, Doug?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. So our next meeting will be May, what, 15th?
21st. Actually, 21st.
Friday.
So
Shortly after we're going to have Memorial Day. So what are the operational changes that we're making? I know we've looked at car counters. Is that going to be in place for this?
Car counters are there.
Right.
They're there.
Yeah. No, yeah, but we've had some data issues. Are they going to...
They're functioning. To give an example, there were, I think, over 700 cars yesterday in the park. And about 500 and something of those 700 were within the 9 o'clock to 9 o'clock time frame.
How many?
500 plus, 590 or something.
Not 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. or
9 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Okay.
That was yesterday. Now, yesterday was a nice day.
Can we charge?
No, we didn't have our computers in yet.
Yeah, but not only that, we start charging when it gets over 70 degrees. Now, yesterday was 55, 60.
Yeah.
But it was very windy, so it was cold for people to go on the beach, although there were like 50 people on the beach yesterday.
So that's still the policy then. So from now on, if it's over 70 degrees, you're going to charge.
Yeah.
And then what's that rate? $3 or $5 per park?
3 for permits, 5 for...
It's 5 for
Right.
non-permits.
And do we have a professional sign that's created, or do we still have a handwritten whiteboard? Now, if we know that, let's just get a sign made that can be...
No, we have these, the
Right.
signs.
But it's still handwritten.
It's handwritten.
Yeah.
Because it changes. You want me to make one up?
I think so. When you drive up and you see a handwritten, it's like, what is
It looks like you're getting shaken down.
Well, okay. We'll have the printer do up a metal sign with.
No, let's try and get it up while it's still in the preseason, too.
Yes.
Talking about the A-frame.
We generally have the A-frame that we use, and we put a organized sign on it. We don't just write on them.
But what happens is every year the prices change, or midstream, I think we had the signs done.
Fine, but we know what the price is now, so I think it's...
Yeah.
Now, what about any other changes in operations heading into Memorial Day? Anything?
There are none.
We're basically with the same personnel that we did last year.
And we're going to flow the cars around the same way, right?
We're going to do all that.
Yep.
We're also
We'll have the second side open. Right now, we only put one computer out in parking, but they have to come back and do all the beach dates. So when they come back and do that before Memorial Day, the second side consider moving it.
At the front.
Yeah.
We only need one
Two
right
cars
now.
at once, right?
We only need one right now, so on a good day, we'll be able to open. And I can get, the turnaround on that sign will be 2 days. So I'll get that done. And we're actually revamping all our signs, because they were scattered throughout the place. So now we have more in one location, and we'll have a better handle.
Is John going to be open? When is John going to
May
open?
5th. He's looking at May 5th.
And we're going to do the same routine where he's got that designated parking area, right?
Yeah.
That has seemed to work out fine.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Last year's operation.
I think she solved all the problems.
No, now I got to talk Portchester. It took me longer to park in Portchester than to come back from Washington, D.C. I just got from Washington. It's crazy out there.
That's absolutely true. We got a concert.
Right.
Yeah, but the only problem we ran into there is that when John started the season off, he had a parking person located right there. So he would check to see if the people are actually going to Seaside Johnny's. Then he sort of fell off and then sort of left it up to us.
Right.
And we don't have that type of personnel that we can spare a guy to watch his parking.
Right, that's fine.
You know, so
people park there, then that's his problem.
he puts his signs up,
Yep.
and they park.
Well, what about the capital projects? We had allocated funds for certain projects, like the ramp, right? And I think part of the roof by the bathroom. I mean, what's going to be done in place
Well,
for the season?
that's part of
That's
the
another-
FEMA discussion, if you want to.
No, okay, that's it. That's all I had for that. Good, thank you.
Well, actually, I did, before we leave operations, in anticipation a little bit of the summer, because you're right, Mayor French, we're not going to have another meeting until May 21st, so these are all terrific questions. And thank you for prepping the guys and the team. And I guess the one area where we still had a lot of difficulty and consternation was the dogs. And we've had a number of outreach efforts. I think one of our last meetings we talked about meeting, Fred, I think you were going to meet with some of the...
Commissioner Brett.
I don't remember where we left things.
Commissioner Brett is going to carry the ball with the Rye Council, and then we're going to get together and have some kind of formal meeting to discuss options. So, you know, I'm actually hoping that that'll happen.
So what I want to say right now is that legislation and things like that don't move quickly, especially on something controversial. So we need to make a plan for dog enforcement policy in the absence of whether or not there's a change in law in the city of Rye. So I think that we should start discussing enforcing what has been sort of an unofficial policy, which is once the season is in full swing, which is we're approaching it, after 9 a.m., dogs have to be
No, always.
Dogs have to be on leashes.
Right. No, and I think that, look, it's there's a lot of inertia in government. I think, we can progressively formalize policies, and I think when it came to the time, so the previous administration sort of didn't enforce, and then unfortunately, we talked about this past, some of the dog owners are not as serious-minded as the bulk of the dog owners, but when we did formalize, it's clear that dogs can't be off leash at any time. And so that's the policy. Now, our staff took a lot of abuse last summer, if we're honest. And I think, by the end of the season, we knew they were taking abuse, and I think we sort of had an idea to enforce sort of on a spot basis as needed, but I think you're absolutely right, Commissioner Brett, that we need a strategy going into the season. And I think we really need to give some teeth to the enforcement. So I don't know so we need to find a way to do that. How we do that, I think, is fundamentally important. We do it as soon as possible. And I think, how long you want to spend on the 27th with the community, but we may want to have that conversation there. And if we can have a policy in place, at least to be discussed. I mean, it'll be Mr. Note, it'll be a formal board meeting. We'll have a quorum. for the April 27th, public, well, the idea of the 27th generally is,
Community forum?
yeah.
Yeah, you have to notice it as a public meeting, yeah.
Okay, so therefore,
You've already done that, haven't you?
yes, so we can actually, I'm wondering if it doesn't make sense, sorry, I should have anticipated this for tonight, but to discuss it, but I'm thinking that we really probably want to see if we can make a recommendation to a policy to discuss with the board and solicit community input. It's a little bit risky, I appreciate, but we might as well have the conversation sooner rather than later.
But you know, of course, when dogs get on the agenda, that it becomes the entire conversation,
Right.
I mean, that is, you know...
We don't have to do it that way. We can, I'm happy to do it.
Mr. Chairman, as of April 23rd, our security will be at the park.
Right.
And they're basically going to enforce the policy that we've established last year in Rye, I think it was. No, it was in Rye Neck.
Right.
Which is, we're going to ask people with their dogs off leashes to put them on.
Right.
And we're going to be very polite about it and very helpful. But when people are persistently not doing it or consistently doing it, we will call the Rye Police. Now, our hope is that the Rye Police can come and make an example out of 2 or 3 people and 5 people, and that'll solve the problem. They will stop. That's my personal opinion. We've been talking about that for 5 years, so we need some help from the city of Rye.
Did you foresee any problem with that, Mayor?
I think it's strictly an enforcement issue. I don't think we need to change laws or policies.
Right.
You need to have your dog on a leash. You need to be able to control your dog, and if there's a threat to public safety, as we've seen in the park. So I think it's strictly enforcement. If we were to make a policy about certain times of day, the police can't enforce that because we're going to have to divide off part of the park, and we've seen what has happened in Grange where they have a section for dogs. Nobody goes there anymore. It's atrocious. So a couple of things we're looking at resource-wise with our police department that we've been talking about over time. So over time we may have some additional resources to assist in this area, but for now, I think it's strictly a conversation with the police commissioner and staff and any other commission members, just to have a strategy of enforcement on this.
I think that's absolutely right. I couldn't agree more. Commissioner Brett, would you like to join Mr. Gioffre in that conversation with the police chief? I think it's important that you meet with them and just make sure we're going to have that enforcement. I'm hopeful that you're absolutely right with at the beginning of the season, if we're very clear, very strict, and we get that enforcement, I think hopefully the change.
Just for the record, I met with Commissioner Connors last year. I met with Scott Pickup last year. So if we can just pick up that conversation with them, get a little teeth into the backbone of that, I think we can solve the... What I'm saying is, I'm not here to punish Rye residents or whoever, dog owners. But if we make an example of 4 or 5, then I think the rest will just abide because they're not going to want tickets. They're not going to want a summons, and the word gets around quickly. I've been getting emails from some of the residents in the area saying there were only 20 dogs off leash today. At one time, at one time.
Only or were?
19.
You said only or the...
Yeah, in other words, they were saying today was a light day. Now, that's extraordinary. Now, there's only one person there that's monitoring that, and that's me, but I'm doing the beach part of it.
Okay, look, so it's very clear. You're going to have to change behavior, and you're going to need a real enforcement policy. Obviously, you've heard the mayor, he's supportive of that. In terms of Rye City County, I always thought that the go-between solution was a sort of a dog run, and if that's unworkable, then look, at the end of the day, just keep your dog on a leash. But we need to enforce. We need to come out of the box, very clear with the policy, very clear with the enforcement. So I don't know if it's. If you could have, maybe I think it might be helpful to have a police representative at that community meeting, if we could, just to say, hey, look, this is what's going to happen. That would be a good idea. I'll give
you an idea. Today there was this large dog running free in front of the administration building, and I just said to the owners that it needs to be leashed. He says, I thought this was a dog park. I said, no, it's not a dog park. He said, well, I'm not from Rye, but I believe that this is a dog. So I told him, no, he got the dog, they put her on a leash. But that's the attitude or the mentality. I mean, we had a reasonable conversation about it, and he abided. Not everybody abides.
So look, I think if
I
that...
want to know who you are.
Right. So if we could, if I was standing, if you could, Fred, please meet with the commissioner. I think it'd be really helpful to have someone from the police department there on the 27th saying, look, we're going to enforce this here, and we're going to give out fines, and you're going to pay fines, and it's going to cost you.
I think so. And I have this recurring dream that my face is on a poster by the door.
Roger, no one's trying to, as you said, no one's trying to punish anybody. We're trying to simply abide. This has been a long time. We've been very accommodating, so I think we're successful.
We have been, and we've tried very hard. And I correct any security person that crosses the line. We're very careful about it.
Great. Thanks so much, Mr. Gioffre. Let's have a good season. Okay, thank you, Terry, for your help. Bill, thank you. FEMA update, Bishop?
Okay, not much to report, but a couple of things. FEMA is still very slow. Other than the debris projects, we have had no other activity with FEMA. So there's been no activity in terms of any building damages, and there's been no activity.
What exactly is happening?
They are...
I thought there was $60 billion.
Yeah, but they're overrun. They're overrun with a lot of projects, and they are relatively slow to react. Now, we also have some issues. For example, the seawall. Rye City Engineering has been handling that. This week, I think the engineering survey is actually due. That's a prelude to try and plan how we're going to fix the seawall. That's just happening right now. That'll kind of give you some sense. There's a fair amount of work that has to go into that. The insurance company, spoke with them, for example. They have a 60-some-odd page report on the damage to our buildings. They've yet to release it to me. And they're still kind of, looking and evaluating what's there, etc. I'm getting the distinct feeling that we're not going to get very much in the way of insurance recovery. Understand, we have a $5,000 deductible. They're taking the entire hurricane damage package as a single unit rather than, try to apply the deductible. So they're treating us reasonably fairly. But when you look at some of the damage, particularly on the bathroom building, they've already given me a heads up, and they've said, look, a lot of that damage predates the hurricane. We've had the inspection. They know that, a lot of it, some of it from 10 years ago even. So I don't know how much we're going to get back on that score. What we're hoping for is we're hoping that FEMA is going to pick up the seawall cost. We're pretty confident of that. The beach walk cost, hopefully they will pick up. The beach walk, what we're going to do is...
How much money overall are we talking?
If I gave you a plan last time, if I remember, I think it was somewhere upwards of about $600,000.
Right.
And of that, what we were hoping was that FEMA would pick up most of that cost. We're finding out that FEMA may not. So the bathroom building was $190,000. If we get back 25 or 50,000 from the insurance company, the commission is still going to be on the hook for a very large piece of change there, which we may have to bond for if in fact we have to go ahead. We're looking at some other alternatives. Remember, we saved all of the tiles when we did the main administration building. So we have, we think, enough tiles to basically strip the current roof, repair the underlayments and whatever rotted wood might be there and so forth, and then we don't have to go out and buy the tile, which is probably the most, I'm going to say, the most expensive part of the project is getting that material. We have enough of that. So we'll see how the bids come in. I mean, we're going to be looking at trying to get some roofers to come in and see if they can entertain that rather than a complete replacement, which is what we did for the $1.4 million.
Almost $1.4
million.
Just quickly, on the bathroom buildings, will they be able to be open for the season?
Yes, they'll still be open. I mean, we're at the point where the leaks can be temporarily fixed, and that's more or less been done. The problem really is when you look at the roof any day.